Hello friends of the North Canadian River Project, this is Evans out here with Kurt. We're at Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge today. It is Saturday, January the 11th. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's about 30 degrees and we're out here because we had a pretty good storm come through last night, a little bit of snow this morning, so we thought this would be a good day to be out here, look for prints, see what we could find today. And we've come down here to the marsh area at Stinchcomb, which is, we are in the kind of the southern end of the North Canadian River, just before it empties into Lake Overholser on the northwest side of Oklahoma City. There's a large marsh here in the Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge. The city has pulled the water down so that all we're left with is these giant mud flats here in the marsh. So we thought we'd come down here and look on the mud flats and see if there was any prints. And sure enough, we have found a line of deep prints going through the mud and up one of the trails. So we found one here. We've looked for boot treads in the prints. We haven't seen any boot treads. A little bit of toes, possibly, but you can definitely follow the line of prints where they went across the mud flats and then up through this area through the cattails and up to the trail. So one of the better prints here that we found, it is extremely muddy, but although I'm standing on top of the mud, I'm not sinking very far. But this track is about 4 inches deep lengthwise from heel to where the big toe would be. That's about 14 inches. And there's a definite ridge in the middle. Just a very interesting line of tracks, or footprints here. What's interesting though is there's no boot tread marks in the bottom of the prints, and they're wide and flat. If we measure across, it's about 5 inches across along the top ridge of the foot. Just a very interesting find already right off the bat as soon as we got here. And we pan the camera and you can actually follow the line of the prints right up through the cattails and on up the trail. So already some interesting stuff. You know, we're working kind of on a theory that the refuge is more active with these creatures, maybe in the wintertime because of food supply, that sort of thing. So very interesting. Of course, we see raccoon tracks, deer tracks, so there's definitely food supply in the area. Here's another very good print right here. You can see the outline of the foot here. No treads, smooth bottom, and there again I'd say about 14 inches and about 5 to 6 inches across at the widest point. So already a good day. We thought, if we find footprints out here this time of year, that it's more than likely not going to be a person out here walking around barefoot. So this is a good time to be in the refuge. We're going to head down the trail on the east side of the river and check some sandbars and see if there's been any new, any types of structures, anything like that along the trails.
Evans, I was going to mention if you could point out the two wide trail marks coming in right to your right.
Right, yeah. If Kurt pan the camera up there, you can see where something really wide and large has been coming through the cattails here. They've really got a path worn out there, which you could see some deer tracks, raccoon tracks in there, but there's also some wide flat tracks without a boot tread that are going up and down these trails. And it also goes up right up there. You can see we're not even that far from the parking area. So just looks like something big has been going through these areas. All right.
Okay. And you can just leave the mic running. It'll last
okay.
for hours.
Oh, okay.
So with the camera, look at this.
I know, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to get down to the river and wash them off.
Well, that's a big old track out there in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'd just get deeper out there, the mud would, wouldn't it?
I don't know if you want to get a shot and show that line of tracks coming, but they go around the corner there too.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I would say this is definitely the muddiest we will get today. But I don't know. To me, those really stood out. I don't know what you thought about it, but oops.
Unless it was a fisherman with waders on wading out there while there was still water there.
Yeah.
But it seems to me they'd be full of water since we just got some rain.
Yep.
And they're not.
I don't know if you want to scrape mud off your boots. Get some of it off anyway. Golly.
Man, that's relief. I bet that was 10 pounds.
Yep.
On each foot.
Gosh. What a mess, huh? Okay.
Right, I'm gonna shoot some. Okay.
All right. So you get down here out of the wind, it's not bad at all.
Okay, I'm following Evans down. This is my first time at Stinchcomb Refuge.
We're going to follow some trails down here along the east side of the river, go down in the river bottom here, and work our way along some sandbars, and then come back along the perimeter road, the security road on the edge, eastern edge of the refuge.
I haven't got my stability bar yet. A friend of mine lives out in Tennessee, is a documentary filmmaker, and makes them. And they eliminate all shake completely. And it's one thing I was wondering why I got such a good deal on this camera. It does not have a good motion deterrent. I guess that costs more money. It does have Wi-Fi, it does have infrared, it's got all kinds of fun stuff, but it does not have a good motion deterrent reduction chip. We're out of the wind now. The sun is making it nice and toasty for 30 degrees or whatever it is. That's a tight squeeze.
Yeah, right down here in the bottom of the marsh, it's really difficult to tell if there's any structures or anything like that because there's just so much debris from every time it floods in this area, from different ice storms, wind storms, all these willows and cottonwoods and trees like that that shed their limbs. And so it's just, this area, it's tough to tell, but is a good place to look for footprints. And so we'll just keep moving through the bottom here until we intersect one of the trails along the river. Lots of raccoon tracks down in here.
What was that?
This gentleman here.
Oh, somebody.
Yeah, there were a few cars in the parking lot, and there's a gentleman up here blowing a dog whistle. So.
Oh. I must have good hearing. I can hear his whistle.
Interesting here on this fallen log, there's a bunch of, looks like actually all poison ivy berries. And this place in the summer is loaded with poison ivy. There's also another big, huge stockpiles. I'll bet the birds have been sitting up there, the robins and things, eating those and then pooping out the seed right here. So it's amazing, just big piles of the seed. Not much gets digested on that, I guess. Okay. Hey, did you lose somebody? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Did your group build this? Oh, okay. Yeah. This was that structure that Ricky Burrell was talking about. Looks like it's kind of falling down, but still interesting. Took a lot of time and effort, whoever built this. It's all uncut logs and limbs and things that have been broken off and stacked here. There's no saw marks, and there's some fairly substantial logs. Gonna take more than one person to drag around, definitely. See any marks or hair or anything inside there? See some old candy wrappers.
I see some remnants of charcoal.
Yeah.
It's been a little wood fire been burning here.
Yeah. Now I know there was a couple of guys out here filming some survival type videos. It's possible they could have made something like this, or I know sometimes it's a kind of a party place, so somebody could have built a fire in the middle and come out to party. So.
Okay. I was just getting you out of the shade. Anyway, I noticed that this is a square, like not unlike a one-room log cabin.
Yeah, looks like the base for something like that.
Doesn't typically structures that we find are in a oval or round shape?
Or yeah, even more of a teepee type.
And this is definitely, well, that's what it looks like.
But it's interesting, and it took a lot of effort. And, you know, folks could be adding to it, although it does look like it's starting to fall down on the sides. So.
Yeah. No.
Right behind me is one of the tree bows that we photographed last spring. You can see it behind me here. It arches over. It's a fairly tall tree. But what's interesting is, we'll get a shot of it, is the top of the tree is actually been tied down with greenbrier vine over here. So it's very interesting. It's interesting where you see where the top of the tree, this is a hackberry. It's got a lot of little fruit left on it, but the top of it is being held down by this greenbrier vine. Interesting. We'll keep moving down the trail. We're getting closer to the river. This is right along one of the main trails. You can see where the side of that hackberry huge limb is split off. It's also pushing down, holding down the smaller hackberry next to it. Of course, that could have been storm damage, ice load, wind damage. Although that's a fairly green tree, and the tree underneath it is green. That's interesting. And something I just noticed over Kurt's shoulder here, the top of this little hackberry here has been snapped off. Just to your right there. It's interesting that was a green tree when it was busted. Not sure what would have caused that, but that's mighty interesting. And that's about, what, 12 feet? It's about 12 feet up. Well, you think it's that high, Kurt?
Oh, at least. Yeah.
but it's broken. It's been snapped off. Well, here again we found another interesting little tree bow. Now this tree is dead. I don't know how long it's been in this position, but it's tucked under the branches of this other tree. The top of it's pinned down that way. So what could have pushed it down? Who knows? But that's just another interesting tree bow that stands out just right off the main trail. We'll move on down to the river.
We just stopped. We're working our way along the river here, and Evans had taken off to go to another place. I called him back just now. I just heard a distinct tree knock right across the river, just about that location that the camera's pointed at right now.
Yeah, we need to get access to that side of the river. There's no trails over there. That's all kind of islands from the oxbows, and we could access that through our kayaks, but that area over there is just wild and thick, and looking at it on the aerial photograph, you just know that would be some great area to cover, but it's not accessible really by foot, so save that for another day. So the trail just kind of meanders along the east side of the river here, and every once in a while it will come up closer to the perimeter road, the fire break perimeter road of the refuge on the east side here, closer to Council Road. But we see a lot of traffic come down through here. The refuge is pretty busy with human traffic today. We've run into a group that is playing some kind of war games, so we had a chat with them for a while. But anyway, we're going to be moving further back into the refuge, hopefully further away from people. We haven't seen anybody else since we left the war game group.
Now I just switched to a boom mic. I'd forgotten to charge my receiver for the wireless mics. See how this boom mic works. Hi.
Hi.
Look at you. We're doing a documentary.
Oh, hi. What? What are you doing a documentary for?
The North Canadian River Project.
Oh, awesome.
Oh.
We're studying the large primates,
Cool. We love nature.
Bigfoot.
Oh,
We
cool.
found a lot of tracks. We found some today.
Okay.
Wow,
And,
that's cool.
Anyway, we'd like to meet people out on the
Cool.
field.
We're just checking out. I'm
Yeah.
from California, so.
You are?
Yeah, she's showing me around.
We're
Yeah.
both from here.
Oh,
Cool.
Okay, nice. Well, good luck finding
Yeah.
stuff.
Hey, you're welcome. Look for us on Facebook.
Okay.
North Canadian River Project.
Okay, awesome.
We will, definitely.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you.
California.
All right. You can tell this is a party spot. Got a rope swing tied off, campfire. It's a pretty large area, open area for swimming, things like that. So this is a pretty active area in the warmer months. We'll move on down the trail. Let me carry it for a while, get you walking through there.
Okay, there you go.
So is it just running continuous?
Yeah, that boom should.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my first time here, so Evans is definitely being a good guide this morning, or this afternoon rather, and the weather has definitely changed for the better, so onward we track. Which way? Got a good muddy bottom down here. That's slick right there. That's bigger than coon. Is that coyote or dog?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of canine tracks. Lots of small tracks. I don't see any large prints. Not the kind of prints we're looking for anyway. This is a spot where about a year ago we did find some really nice footprints.
Well, I'm gonna.
Looks pretty super soft and muddy down in this area. We had pretty good rain last night before the cold front came through.
Boot. It's human. Human. Looks like a good fishing bank. I imagine that's what it's used for when it's dry. Right now you get about 10 pounds of mud on your boots, so. Guess we'll go back this way.
You can see there's some sandbars over there on the other side. We sure wish we could get to. We will be able to access them later with the kayaks, but I'll give you a slow pan up the river here. See the area where we came from. Okay, we will head on down the trail.
One thing we plan to do, thanks to Evans, last year we both have some nice kayaks, and we want to take the kayaks from the old 81 River Bridge and work our way down to this area. It'd be about a day, and maybe less, depends on how high the river is and how fast it's moving. But the opportunities to stop along the way are endless. So it ought to be a heck of an adventure if we can make it and not get all the equipment wet.
Hey Kurt, looks like we're on the last little green bar of the battery.
Okay.
We'll just save it for the next spot.
Yeah. We're taking a little break, sitting on a log. Yeah. Evans just got through showing me some excellent aerial photograph maps, laminated maps, and really gave me a good concept of where we're at and how we got here and where we could go on from here. He's got it, it looks to me like he's got it in a winter aerial shot and also a summer aerial shot. And we can see where the green is still growing. We can see it from here. I see green right back over here. I'll try to get it on camera in a little bit, but back behind us, a lot of green. Then Evans says further on over our shoulder is an area that has some exceptional duck hunting on it. Looks like a big swamp, and it remains green all year. And so anyway, we're hoping that eventually we could make our way around to the area via kayak or otherwise. And my hopes is to get with him after he showed me this map, this aerial photograph. There is a beautiful power line cutout like you see up in the hills up in southeast Oklahoma, or down in southeast Oklahoma. And many reports of sightings by people have been seen running up and down those long 2-lane paths or bigger that have the electrical lines on it.
Yeah, we're down in the river bottom now, getting ready to move into a real swampy area that's marshy and soft all year round and stays pretty green. And I was just showing Kurt on the aerial photograph kind of where we're at. Since this is his first visit to Stinchcomb, it's kind of more of like an orientation trip. And so I was showing him on the aerial photo that we've covered actually very little of the refuge today. When you look at the overall size of this place, we've probably covered almost a couple of miles along the eastern side, pretty much along the recreational trails. Now we're at the point where the recreational trails end because you go into the marsh, and so we're going to work our way back up to the perimeter fire road, where we found some nice footprints last year about this time. But as you can see, we're down in the thick bottom of the river here. Huge old willow and cottonwood and bur oak, huge trees. So we're just taking a rest break, kind of taking the opportunity to show Kurt where we're at on the aerial photos here, and doing some planning and scouting for our next trip, because we want to get off trail and over into the wilder areas where some of these cutoffs and oxbows are, and the thicker woods that we were looking at from across the river a little while ago.
Yeah,
so,
we might even, let's see here. I just got this baby. Might even be able to have to need one of these, Evan said. This is the end of the trail, so to speak, for the easy going. It's been pretty easy so far, actually. Just a little ducking and a little maneuvering, which we're used to doing all the time anyway. But sounds like the only trails we're gonna get are deer trail, which are always, they're nice. It's nicer than not having any trail at all. But unless you're the size of a 4 foot high, it's kind of hard to. So
Yeah, from here we'll have to follow the river itself and stay right along the bank, and that'll be our passageway to get over to these wilder areas, and to move back further into what looks like some really good squatchy areas. But we'll need a full day to do that, because that'd be quite a trek back in there. Need time to cover it and do some good scouting. So anyway, sun's starting to go down. It's getting a little chillier down in here, but it's been a good trip, a good reconnaissance trip, and a good orientation trip for Kurt to see Stinchcomb. Now he kind of understands what we were talking about, of it being, even though we're right on the northwest edge of the city, it's pretty wild out here.
It's just like being where I've been researching for 20 years. I mean, it's river bottom land, but I had no idea that it was this massive and that much cover. Just a minute ago, of course, the camera wasn't running, of course, but Evans, we're going to take a break here, so I was working on the camera, doing something over here, taking my backpack off, and was staring straight ahead right over my shoulder, and saw a movement across the river, back in around 50 yards, went from the left to my right. There's a fallen log back over there. Evans looked at it with the binoculars, but it's a vertical. It looks like it could be standing up 6 foot tall. Looks like a big limb had fallen and has remained like that through the trees. And there's a path, a deer trail or something going through there. And whatever it was, moved from the left to the right extremely fast, but the top of it was equal to that vertical stump. Could have been somebody out here that moves real fast. We've already seen people out here, but they would have to have crossed the river, right? Yeah. And I'm sure the water's cold, so I don't know. Anyway, that's what I saw.
Yeah, I was just past this area along the riverbank last year on President's Day, when I made the President's Day photos, where I found that one structure and started getting that real hinky feeling that you get the willies when you feel like something's watching you or something's going on, and heard the dying rabbit call. So this is kind of in that area, but as you can see, there's plenty of cover down in here. We've found numerous small animal tracks. There's still some greenery. There's cattails where they could eat roots. So there is food and cover in this area, even in the wintertime. Yeah, we just heard a whistle, but I believe it's somebody up there, up the trail. So,
There's a big group of medieval swordsmen. They've got their practice swords, their long swords, and masks and protective gear. And there's 2 teams of them, about 6 per team, and they signal each other with these high-frequency dog whistles. Is that what it
sounds like? Yeah.
Yeah, to let their teams know where they're at and all that. And we've walked by and didn't even know they were there. They were behind stumps, and right when we walk up on them, right there they are. It's been interesting, but I think we're far enough away from north of them right now, but we can hear their signals. Looks like a pretty cool game. I don't know if their plastic swords would do any good against a big boy.
Right. Definitely not.
No.
But I think we're going to pack up from here and head up to the perimeter road and move back along the road there and see if we can find anything that left footprints along the edge of the road from a little bit of rain that we got last night and a little bit of snow this morning. Thanks for watching. So we're going to start working our way back south now, find a place to get back from the river bottom here up to the perimeter road, eastern perimeter road of the refuge, and work our way back down the roadway. Just a dirt clay road, and we'll see if maybe something left some prints after the rain last night. The last few minutes it has gotten extremely quiet down in here, except for the jet going over. But I just heard it was either a barred owl or a whoop. I couldn't tell which. It just caught my ear. But it's coming from that area over there closer to the river where the trails stop. Kind of back in that area where Kurt saw some movement earlier. But it's gotten very quiet down in here. The birds are picking up again.
It did. It just got just dead silent, except for the jet.
Yeah. The birds are coming alive again.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the refuge here is, a few miles north of Will Rogers World Airport, so we get a lot of flyover traffic here, and that messes with your hearing. But
And recording. Okay. There is the heel mark of a track. There's toe marks in it and what looks like a mid-tarsal break. And so it's an older track too. So it's been scuffed by the last little rain we had. We're looking at, what do you got down there on your end?
72-inch stride.
72-inch. That's a long ways, man.
72-inch, 6-foot stride. And the tracks are about 12.5 inches. I'm sorry, the footprints are about 12.5 inches by about 4 inches wide. 5 inches wide. Big toe. Toes coming back this way. This is along that east perimeter fire road. Now, there's a lot of other footprints in through here, a lot of boot prints. These stuck out because there was no tread marks in these prints, and there was toe prints. So,
yeah, especially the big toe really sticks out.
yeah. But just looking down this section of road, which you can tell is just old clay sand road, there's a lot of footprints right along this particular area for some reason.
Okay, we'll follow along. Go to the next one.
See this? This almost looks like the right foot again. But looks like whatever it was actually wandered around in this area.
It does.
I mean, there's some tennis shoe prints and some boot prints.
Is that what do I see up here? See where the stick is laying?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that track next to it? Right? No, back this way. That stick to your left. Here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Well, you can kind of see some waffle print there.
Oh, okay.
But this is an interesting one. And that's an interesting one. The toes.
Yeah.
Might be more than one individual here. Well, it's about that same, about that foot long, 12-inch print there. But as Kurt just kind of pans the edge of this road, you can see so many prints along through here. And there's some large canine tracks and boot tracks, but some other prints mixed in as well.
Somebody's jogging.
There's some old prints there.
How are you today?
All right. It's kind of interesting.
They're getting so meshed in with human and dog and possible horse.
Yeah, there is a group out here that rides horses. I've run into them before. They ride up and down the perimeter road here.
Yeah.
And there's lots of folks that come out and walk their dogs here. So you get a mixture of,
That's a horse track.
yeah.
And old. And they're shoed. You could tell. I grew up on a quarter horse ranch. You can tell the difference between a shoed track and a unshodden horse. I think I said that right. Hey, what's this? Okay. Are those?
Ooh, that's an interesting.
All right, you're in my sun.
Sorry. Yeah, look at the shadow on that. Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna
Wow.
go ahead and measure it, and then clear the debris, and I want to get an above shot of it, right over the top of it, if I can. Move the camera around so I can get in between the tripod legs.
Wow.
Let's see if I can get over this thing. Okay. Oh yeah.
That's that same 12.5-inch print.
Yeah.
12.5, 13. That's nice. You can see kind of what Dr. Meldrum's talking about, that mid-tarsal flexion.
Yes. I've heard
Nice.
Dr. Meldrum
Wide, flat foot there.
talk about that a lot. And
Toes.
I also recently heard him talk about, I think it was Bigfoot, our Expedition Bigfoot with our friend Russell Accord. One of the tracks, they were discussing claw marks, which always comes in discussion with Dogman and all that. And we've found some, they're definitely Bigfoot tracks, okay? Troy and Jim Mordecai and everybody else in Evans, they're everybody's made prints or copies of these with the plaster of Paris or what have you. And it's not uncommon to see some toenail growth. And when they lay down on one of these muddy tracks, it appears similar to claw marks in a way. But I'm sure we've all seen people that don't have good foot hygiene, and when they let their toenails go, they can get mighty long, and they would leave a track. You got your toe. I'm going to zoom in on this track just a little. We're not claiming anything here, as always. So the track experts can take a look at these, at my film here and go, no, that's not, that is not. But the toe marks, if you were here in person, you could see, there's toes. It's cold. I'm not going to go barefoot out here. But anyway, little claw marks, or toenails, rather. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to get left behind. I'm using my old Nikon now. Something we were going to bring up later, but I think I'll bring it up now. I just charged 2 lithium packs for my new video camera. I've literally forgot while experimenting with them at home and my new wireless microphone system for recording out here. I've left the battery packs on and went and ate dinner, watched part of a movie, and went, oh, I forgot to turn off my camera and stuff. And I'd go back in and they still had a good half a charge on them. And now I know a little bit about battery, and I realize that cold weather can, but it's not that cold out here where it would zap batteries. And this is the second time now that we've had brand new batteries, brand new charge. No, it's all brand new stuff, and our batteries are zapped. And I'm not trying to say that it's supernatural or anything else. It's just funny that if there's nothing around, they'll last all day. I mean, literally all day. I've had batteries going and filming until I had no SD card left. And when there's something around, it seems, or at least we think when there's something around, the batteries get zapped. What do you think about that, Evans?
Well, it's just mighty strange that every time we put a battery on a camera this afternoon, within minutes, it's dead. And we've gone through 2 battery packs, 2 sets of batteries, 2 sets of AA batteries. It's just really weird.
The wireless receiver?
Wireless receiver said that it was dead, waited a little while, turned it back on, it was back to charged. It's just odd. And it's probably around 35, 36 degrees now. So it's not that cold. So I don't know. It's just really strange.
All right.
Getting close enough for the mic to pick up.
Yeah, just talk about like that. That'd be fine. Stench. Comb. Stinchcomb. Well, Evans, thank you. taking me here. I can't believe I've missed all the outings, but I didn't think that I would see anything different really than I have already seen.
Well, I was kind of curious, this being your first trip out to Stinchcomb, what your thoughts were on what we saw so far, even though we just covered a small portion of the entire refuge. So I'm just kind of curious what you thought about it.
Well, I think I'm going to come back. I think there's a lot to see out here. I think there's a lot of possibilities. I've seen stick structures. I've found tracks. I've seen something move across the trail. We've heard some sounds.